All right, we're back with another Pick'em video. It is Friday, March 28th in the NBA. We have a 7-game slate, so we're actually going to go through every single game. Probably not going to have official pick in every single game, but we'll talk about some leans, guys that I might be liking. We'll talk about the injury news like we always do, and kind of try to get a feel for every game we got going on tonight. It could be an okay slate in terms of like games to actually watch, but we got some injury news. The Bucks and the Knicks should be a fun one, but again, no Brunson, no Dame on each side of that. We'll see if Giannis plays. Then we got the Suns and the Timberwolves, maybe the game of the night with no injuries on either side, really, other than Bradley Beal. And then Pistons and the Cavs would be a fun one also, but you got no Cade Cunningham on the Cavs side of things. So injuries kind of ruining the slate, but at the same time, hopefully some value out there that we're going to find, and we're going to go through all the games. So buckle up, definitely get ready for the video. If you're new around here, definitely go ahead and subscribe, leave the video a like, comment something down below. It does tell YouTube to push it out a little bit more. Could be a little bit of a longer video just because we are going to touch on each game, but we'll see what happens. So let's get into the recap of yesterday's video, talk about the injury news after that, and then we'll get into the plays. So quickly jumping into the recap of yesterday's picks, we talked about 3 of them, ended up going 1 and 2. So I think our first official losing day in a while. Some days we have 2 and 2 days. Sometimes we have 3 and 2 days. We'll take the little bit of a win there, but a true losing day here. I'm going to take that on the chin. I'm going to try to keep rolling here. And again, I'm not too mad about at least one of these reads that did miss, and that's going to be Denny Advia, over 13.5 rebounds and assists. I'm kicking myself for maybe not going and including his points here, but this is a 20-point blowout. He loses about 5 minutes from his projection in terms of his minutes to what he actually got. So, 5 more minutes on the court. Can he get 2 more rebounds and assists? Maybe, because he ended with 9 rebounds and 3 assists. But again, I'm really just kicking myself for the 24 points he put in. Kind of a weaker defense here in Sacramento. I didn't love his matchup in terms of scoring the ball, but with all the injuries, he has been scoring well and sometimes absolutely crushes his normal points line. So maybe PRA was a better read that did cash. Unfortunate with the blowout, just didn't get the time on the floor. Josh Giddey, though, was our winner here, 17.5 rebounds and assists. I said sprinkle something on his triple-double, and he went out there and did that again against the Lakers, and included that. If the triple-double wasn't good enough, how about a half-court shot, 47-footer to win it at the buzzer for Josh Giddey and the Bulls, who are just rolling, and Giddey is a big part of that. So we've got to always look at Giddey. I'm sure his lines are going to start creeping up and up and up, but he continues to cash for this Bulls team with no point guards other than him really active and ready to go. Next up, Trae Young under 23.5 points. Maybe a bad read. He wasn't able to get to the free throw line. That was one of our main looks here. Transition defense for the Miami Heat is also a very good thing. So he stayed under in the 3 matchups earlier. Similar defenses going up against Trae Young have really been able to stop him, that don't allow free throws, that don't allow transition. He was just able to have a good night, shot pretty well, only 3 free throws in that game, but ends with 29 points, and they lost that game to the Miami Heat. So again, maybe not bad, horrible reads here, but we'll be able to hopefully have a bounce back spot and hopefully sweep the board here. So let's jump into the actual plays and start talking about some injury news. All right, so hopping over to RotoWire to check out some injury news, projected minutes, things like that. We got Cleveland and Detroit. Evan Mobley, a game-time decision, but probable should be ready to go in this one. Cleveland doesn't really need to play anyone. They pretty much have the first seed locked up, barring any sort of crazy losing streak and winning streak on the Celtics side of things. But Ty Jerome, right now, game-time decision. He didn't play last time, I don't think, or last game. Evan Mobley is going to be a game-time decision, like I just mentioned, but he should be out there and ready to go. So relatively healthy squad for Cleveland. And on the Detroit side of things, they're only 5-point underdogs here because they're at home, but no Cade Cunningham is going to be a big loss to them. They've won some games without Cade this year, but there's one main guy that I want to look at in terms of an under because of his matchup. And without Cade being able to set him up, I do like that spot for him. So this is the first game of the night. We're going to hop over to Props Madness and talk about this man, Jalen Duren, on an under. If you're new and have never seen Props Madness before and you're watching this video, you're like, I got to try this freaking thing out. It is awesome. Not only does it tell you how they score their points, how defenses go up against their defensive rank against that certain types of scoring, where these guys are shooting their shots, how opponents defend that certain spot, how other similar players are scoring over the thing. It gives you so many different filters. Definitely go ahead and check out Props Madness. You can check it out for a free week. Use my link in the description down below. It's code RICH when you sign up. You get that free week and 25% off your first month or your first year. And yes, I'm super excited to use this for WNBA. Something I'm a lot less knowledgeable about, but being able to see all these different types of stats and not as many injuries and game time decisions and load management situations in the WNBA. Really, really excited to do that. So definitely check out Props Madness. So Jalen Duren, going to be our first play here. You see the 12.5 at minus 136 on the over. That means that a lot of other books have this at 13.5, minus 125 on the under here for Jalen Duren. I'm going to take this over on DraftKings or really wherever you find it at 13.5. At 12.5, I honestly probably would stay away here just because he lands on 13 a decent amount. So he's been over this in 55% of games. But the big thing here I want to see is no Cade Cunningham to set him up here. He's under this now in only over this in 2 of 7 games. Yes, the last 2 games he has gone over, but I've also done the defensive scoring zone. His dominant scoring zone, which is the restricted area defense. And a lot of these are very, very weak matchups. And a lot of them were not recently. The 2 March games, those are the ones he went over. Those are games without Jaden Ivey, sure. But you look at the defenses here. This is a 29th ranked restricted area defense. Literally, the worst, one of the worst defenses in the league, and then the 27th ranked defensive restricted area defense. I can't say that for some reason. So what I'm trying to say here is he had really, really weak matchups. These 2 games he did go over. The other games he didn't go over, even though, again, very weak matchups. And then you can see the 2 little bit more difficult matchups without Cade in the lineup. He had not even very difficult, but 9th ranked and 15th ranked. This was against the Memphis Grizzlies and against the Orlando Magic. He had 6 points and 7 points. So a little bit tougher matchup here. Ranked 8th for Cleveland. They got Mobley down there. They've got Jared Allen down there. You can see 85% of his shots come from right down there. Putbacks, 7th ranked there. Transition free throws. He's not a back to the basket type of guy. He needs Cade Cunningham setting him up for a cut, for an alley-oop jam or something like that in transition, whatever it might be. And the Cavs are really, really good at those certain types of things. Now, if he starts working the post, which he doesn't usually, 0.4% of his points come from the post-up shot creation, and that's ranked 22nd. So maybe he posts up a little bit more, but I doubt it. We've seen it, time and time again, not really getting this scoring line when Cade's out of the lineup. And you can see similar types of players. Kessler, Claxton, Duren himself didn't get over this line very often, and 27% of guys only going over this line against this Cavs team. So Duren on the under going to be the first play of the day and one of my favorite plays, just without Cade being able to set him up. We've seen time and time again he stays under this line. Sure, a couple games he's getting very close, a couple games he is over, but those are very, very weak defenses. This is the most difficult matchup he'll have without Cade Cunningham in terms of that restricted area defense, and I think it's going to be difficult for him. Now, he has played these guys twice this year, 3 times this year, and he stayed under in all 3 matchups. Sure, only 22, 29, and 29 minutes. That's actually pretty normal for him. So very, very good to see that he's actually stayed under. And Cade Cunningham played all of these games, and 2 of these games were without Jaden Ivey, where without Jaden Ivey, he does get a little bit of a scoring boost. But yeah, 2 of these games without Ivey, now without Cade Cunningham. Both these guys are dudes that are going to set Jalen Duren up for some easy buckets. Maybe Schroeder goes out there and is throwing him alley-oop after alley-oop, but I don't think so. Duren under 13.5. I really like this one. And then as for some other guys in this game, I was really focusing on Duren just because everything I look at, even with Schroeder, looking at who's stepping in as the point guard situation, even with Schroeder stepping in as point guard, I looked at the games that they played the Cavs back when he was on the Nets, and how Claxton did, and Claxton stayed under in all those games. So really, really just focused on Duren, really went deep into that one, so hopefully it pays off. If you find it at 12.5, again, I don't love it as much. You could still take it. I'd really look for it at 13.5 because that's where I like it the most. And then again, as for these other players, I guess Darius Garland's my only read here. 18.5 points just seems a little bit too low. Very weak pick and roll defense here, especially without Cade on the floor, who's a 2-way player. Maybe a little bit more of an opportunity. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being one of those blowout situations today. It is only a 5-point spread, so I'm gonna prepare for that. So in certain types of situations like this, pick and roll ball handling, that ranked 28th there. That's his main source of scoring. Another good matchup for Donovan Mitchell as well. But head to head, I like how he's been able to score against this team. One of these games was without Donovan Mitchell, and then you see similar types of defenses going up against him. These weaker pick and roll ball handling defenses, top or bottom 10 in pick and roll ball handling defense. He's over in 60% of games, and also away games he usually steps up. He's the main guy I look at for away games, kind of like DeMar DeRozan on the Kings. 64% of games with these weak defenses to pick and roll in away situations, he's been able to go over pretty well, again, including a 25-point game against the Pistons here. So hopefully no blowout here. That's kind of why, Darius Garland more of a lean here. The only official video pick I like for this one is going to be Jalen Duren. Okay, so I spent a really long time on Jalen Duren, so I'm going to try to speed it up a little bit here. We're moving into the Clippers and the Brooklyn Nets. A lot of time projected for Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, Zubac, all these different guys. I think the best matchup is going to be Zubac, and we'll take a look at that in a second here. But in terms of injuries, pretty much no injuries. They're relatively healthy and ready to go. They just trounced the Knicks a few days ago. Now they get the Nets here in New York. So the Clippers kind of rolling. We'll see if they can make out a win here. It is a 12-point spread, so just got to keep in mind some blowout potential. On the Brooklyn side of things, Clowney's going to be probable. Watford and Williams going to be game time decisions, and Sharp is going to be out. So probably going to be a decent amount of time for Nick Claxton, 29 projected minutes. Cam Johnson's going to be available, 32 minutes. Where is D'Angelo Russell? Sometimes this guy just completely sucks. I've totally turned a new leaf on him. I used to like him. Like when he got traded from Lakers, I was like, oh, he's the scapegoat. I don't know if they just don't play him enough minutes, if he just doesn't like playing basketball. I don't know what it is. Sometimes he just completely sucks and doesn't even look like he wants to be out there. So with that said, D'Angelo Russell, I don't like you, so it doesn't matter. Let's go into the props madness thing and take a look at Zubac, because that's the first guy I want to look at. First guy that comes to mind in this matchup. And the line I like for Zubac here is going to be his 11.5 rebounds. Now, we went to his rebounds and assists a few games ago. He didn't get that, but now against the Nets, who have been giving up a ton of rebounds to centers, I'm just going to go to his rebounds, 11.5. I think he can get that done for us. So first of all, let's look at the similar types of players and how they've performed against this line. Recently, the past 5 matchups for centers like this have crushed their lines, except for Hartenstein. I'm not sure what happened. He only had 2 rebounds. But Jarrett Allen, 13 rebounds. Again, Jarrett Allen, 20 rebounds. Sengun, 20 rebounds. Nick Richards, 15 rebounds. And you can see Zubac right here. He only had 9, but we'll touch on that in just a second. There may have been a blowout situation a little bit going on there. So similar types of players, rebounders, have been crushing their lines recently. And that goes for all really just centers in general by position. A lot of guys crushing their lines, again, recently since the turn of like March. And we got no Sharp for this Nets team, who's one of their best rebounders, maybe their best rebounder. So him not coming off the bench, I think, is another boost here. Now, we saw Zubac didn't get their line. He was one of the only guys that didn't get their line. Well, first of all, that was a 22-minute game he played, only 22 minutes, and it was a 59-point blowout. So I think you can cut him some slack. I do like to see 20 rebound chances in that one. So only playing 22 minutes, 60-point blowout. Sure, it's a 12-point spread here, but if it can stay any bit relatively close and Zubac can get anywhere close to his projected 33 minutes, I think he can go over there and grab 3 more rebounds. The rebound chances were there, the minutes weren't, and it was an absolute blowout. So Zubac hopefully can go out there and grab some more rebounds in a little bit more time on the court. With similar types of players on the court, again, minutes, hopefully you can get 30 or so minutes, let's say like 30 to, we don't even go too crazy. He's projected for 36, so he's projected for 33, so we'll go 30 to 36 minutes here. 62% hit rate, so I do like to see that. A lot of red lately, but I want to see Norman Powell on the court. I want to see James Harden on the court, Kawhi Leonard on the court, still over this in 66% of games. Sure, again, you can say, okay, he's not getting his rebounds here, and a lot of these games, they're in that range of the minutes. But I just think, certain types of players absolutely crushing this rebound line against this Nets team recently. I think it's a great matchup for him to get there. So Zubac, 11.5 rebounds. I do like this one. Another guy I like on the Clippers side of things, it's going to be a points line for Kawhi Leonard, who you can see is hit in 7 straight games. I keep looking at his line, expecting it to get bumped up, 23, 24.5. But no, 22.5 favored on the under here. So you can get some pretty good value on the over 22.5 points. Again, he's hit it in 7 straight games, and I've got this minutes line. That's the blue line. You can see the upwards trend of his minutes going along with the upwards trend in terms of his scoring. So I do like that. And again, 59-point game last time they played. He did cash it, just crept over with 23 points in only 24 minutes. He's projected for 38 minutes in this game, and the Clippers need wins. They want playoff positioning and things like that. So Kawhi, hopefully getting a little bit more time. If this can stay relatively close, 2 overs for these Clippers, looking pretty good. And he's got a great matchup to score the ball. Transition, spot up, pick and roll ball hitting, they're great at that. They defend that well. That's going to be a good thing for James Harden, maybe being a little bit more limited in the scoring abilities. Maybe he's diming it up to a guy like Kawhi Leonard, who looks really good. He's playing very efficient. If you've seen Kawhi play recently, his shot looks good. He's getting to that mid-range, which he likes to get to, and he's just looked really, really good. So, yeah, Kawhi Leonard over his 22.5 points. If he did it in a 59-point blowout, I think he can get a little bit more time in the court today and cash out for the 8th time in a row. And then for the Brooklyn side of things, I don't really love anyone. Their projected minutes are all over the place, and I don't really know who to trust on this team, especially going up against a difficult defense. In the Clippers, maybe look at some unders for a guy, my favorite player in the world. Where's D'Angelo Russell? Yeah, I hate that guy. Maybe look at some unders from D'Lo. That's my only play there. Charlotte and Toronto. We got LaMelo Ball going to be out. Josh Okogie going to be out. So the projected minutes for these guys, we're going to get a lot of KJ Simpson. We're going to get a lot of Miles Bridges. And they're going up against the Toronto Raptors. 5.5-point spread in favor of Toronto. They're probably going to try to lose this game. So just be ready for a lot of starters to lose minutes down the stretch. I'm looking at Jakob Poeltl. Probably won't play the last 5-6 minutes of the game because that's what they've been doing recently. And you can see the guys that are sitting, RJ Barrett, Grady Dick, Ingram hasn't played for them, Agbaji's still out. So projected minutes for these guys, no one over to 30 minutes. That's because they're not playing their guys. They're playing a lot of bench players, and they don't play their main dudes down the stretch of the game. So just keep that in mind. Toronto players might look like they have a great matchup. might look like they're going to crush their lines or whatever it might be. They just don't get a lot of minutes. So always look at some unders for Toronto, and that's what we're looking at in this one. So starting off with Scotty Barnes here, I don't think any of these plays are going to be official plays, but I do want to point out some leans here. Scotty Barnes, points and assists. You can look at both these. His minutes just haven't been there. 28 minutes the last 2 games, 30 minutes, 34 minutes, sure, but 31, 28, 24, 26. He's projected for 28 minutes. Again, the Raptors are just not playing their guys. Kind of a loophole here to pretend like you're not tanking, but you are. Very mediocre defense here. So yes, similar players have been going over their lines, but in games that he's not seeing, more than 32 minutes, I'll be very generous there. He's projected for 28 minutes. He's only over this in 38% of games. You can look at his points line, very similar, 38%. I'm saying 31.8%. So he's not going over very often in that much time in the court. Again, we've seen 28 minutes in back-to-back games from him. If they're going to cap him at 28 minutes, even just 30 minutes here, I'm looking at points and rebounds. I want to look at points and assists. Simply looking at 30 or less minutes played, he's only over in 2 of 13 games. Sure, you can say, okay, RJ's out. How does that look like with RJ in the lineup? Under in all 3 of those games, even in very weak matchups. So again, Scotty just not playing down the stretch of games. I don't really care who he's playing. It's just the minutes here that he's going to be, not on the court long enough to get this points and assists line, I don't think. So Scotty under his points and assists at 23.5. I do think that's pretty good value. Now, Jakob Poeltl, I was kind of roasting him. They haven't been playing him down the stretch of games either, but similar types of players have been able to go over this line. He's been able to go over his line recently against a lot of these guys, so just something to keep in mind. He did play these guys earlier in the year. He had 20 points on them in 35 minutes. We're not going to see 35 minutes from Jakob Poeltl. I guarantee you that. He's getting 26, 28, 25 or so minutes. So again, you see his minutes drop below 30 minutes per game. He's not over this very often, but recently he's been okay and efficient in the time he's been on the court. I'm not saying take the over. I'm just saying if you wanted to take one over on them, maybe it would be Jakob Poeltl, I guess. Moving along to the Hornets side of things, the 2 guys I'm looking at are going to be Josh Green and Daquan Jeffries. Now, it's really just the time on the court. Daquan Jeffries projected for 26 or 28 minutes in this game. I think he's projected for 28 minutes, so 26 plus minutes, he's over this line. This is out without LaMelo Ball, but even in 26 minutes, he's over his points line in a lot of these. Threes line is really the one I want to look at for plus 125. Just a nice little plus money lean you might want to look at. He's hitting almost 5 of the last 6 games. You get no LaMelo on the court. Projected for a lot of time in the court, spot up, transition. A lot of similar players are going over their lines. So Daquan Jeffries definitely a guy I want to look at. In the same breath here, a guy like Josh Green, we're pretty much just going to see LaMelo out of the lineup here. 60.9% hit rate now. His projected minutes for this game is going to be 26 minutes, so Josh Green getting a little bit more time on the court. Again, no LaMelo on the court, so let's say like 24 plus minutes, jumps to a 63% hit rate. And again, similar types of players going over the line. So for the Hornets side of things, maybe a look on Josh Green or Daquan Jeffries to knock down some threes. What is the 3-point line for Josh Green? I go to Josh Green's points if you want to look at that. I'd go to Daquan Jeffries' threes for plus money. They're not official plays, they're just leans. And then the other side of things, Scotty Barnes under his points and rebounds. And maybe look at Jakob Poeltl's over points. Pretend like I didn't even say that. He just has the best matchup to maybe go over. Jumping into the next matchup here, it's going to be the Golden State Warriors and the Pelicans. And for sake of time, we're going to kind of skip over this one. I do have one play that I want to quickly go over, but we don't know if Steph Curry's going to play. He's a game time decision as of right now. Obviously has missed a few games recently, did come back, played 25 minutes. They rest him a few more games. This is a good game to rest him. They're expected to win this game by 14.5 points. It's a Pelicans team that's horrible. They don't have Zion. They don't have CJ McCollum now. Obviously, a couple other guys have been either traded or ruled out for the season, like guys like DeJounte Murray. So they really got a skeleton crew. Those are sometimes the games you need to worry about in terms of like randomly losing. You don't come with your A game. But in terms of everything, I think Steph Curry potentially sits this one, which is why I want to look at a guy like Podziemski or Moses Moody. They're the 2 guys I trust in more of a blowout situation, and maybe they rely on them a little bit more in an easier matchup here, even though they are on the road. So Podziemski's been really good recently. Over his 13.5 points seems pretty good to me. Again, you could look at a guy like Kuminga too. These are 3 guys that I'd probably be looking at: Podziemski, Kuminga, or Moses Moody. Now, Podziemski's been the most consistent recently, which is why I'm kind of eyeing him mostly. But again, if you maybe see a line that's better for Kuminga or for Moody, you could play it that way too. Just be wary of the blowout situation. Podziemski in the first quarters has been awesome recently. Didn't get there against the Heat, but 3.5 points for plus 120 on some books. Definitely something I'd want to look at here. He's been getting a ton of time, especially without Curry in the lineup. Now, if Curry plays, that's obviously going to take a little bit of hit for him. But if Curry doesn't play, he's going to be having a scoring boost. You can see how he scores the ball, spot up and transition are the main ways he does it. Sure, similar players recently haven't been able to get there against them. But again, not an amazing read in this game with the blowout situation, with not knowing what's happening with Steph Curry. But I think Brandon Podziemski over his points is something that I probably want to look at the most. Rebounding and assists, again, you have to kind of worry about the blowout situation and him not getting as many minutes as possible. So I'm just going to land on his points, 13.5 for some plus money. Yeah, pretty much everywhere's got that. And then just with all the injuries, there's got to be some sort of value on the Pelican side of things. I don't know if I want to get to Jordan Hawkins or Bruce Brown, but both these guys in the spot-up department, that's where most of their points come from. Bruce Brown does a lot more of his scoring inside, which the Warriors are really good at defending. Similar types of players not going over that very often. And Jordan Hawkins' line is the highest line on the board. It's at 14.5 in a decent amount of places. That's where I'd want to play it because, again, similar types of players other than Bruce Brown, he doesn't do a lot of his damage inside the paint. He's going to be more like a mid-range guy or a three-point guy. Again, spot-up defense is weak here for the Golden State Warriors. So if Jose Alvarado or someone can get him some open shots, he can maybe knock this down. I just don't like his current form, but I wanted to point something out on the side of on the Pelicans. 12.5 points for Kelly Olynyk. Again, it's just a hard matchup for a lot of these guys, and without a true playmaker for them, Jose Alvarado has not been amazing. You can see his assists. Okay, sure, 5.5. Something maybe to look at, but again, I just don't love anything for this Pelicans team. Blowout situation and all that. It's tough to get to them, even though some of these guys are going to get a really big boost in minutes. With no Trey Murphy, with no Zion, CJ, DeJounte, there's really no one on this team. So yes, I think you could find some value there. Hard to predict who it's going to be. Moving along to the next game that might end up being the game of the night here, the Knicks and the Milwaukee Bucks. Right now, it doesn't even have a spread. I've seen it at 1. I've seen it at 1.5. It should be a close one, but the moral of the story is we don't know if Giannis is going to play. We know Dame's out. We know Bobby Portis is out. We know Brunson's out. We know McBride's out. We know Campaign's out. There's a lot of injuries for a lot of players on this team, so it's going to be a harder one to predict. My only thing right now that I do like to see, OG Anunoby scoring the ball really well. He also scores pretty well on away games, so he's got to be someone you take a look at least. His line's at 20.5 though, so that's pretty high for a guy that's been kind of inconsistent. Now recently without Brunson, he has been a little bit better. The guy I kind of want to look at here is going to be Tyler Kolek. With 26 projected minutes, and he's gone over his assist line in 3 straight games, probably off the bench. With Campaign going down, he's got some more minutes, but 19 minutes here, 19 minutes here, 18 minutes here without Campaign now, on top of Deuce McBride and on top of Jalen Brunson. If he's going to run 26 minutes in this game, he's been able to cash this line in less time than that. I think Tyler Kolek could be a very sneaky look here at 6.5. Now, it is juiced on a lot of books. If you find this at 7.0 on PrizePicks, maybe just worth a throw in there if you want to get something down in this game. Could be a sneaky pick because if he gets that much time in the court, and we know what Tibbs likes to do, if he finds someone playing well, he'll just keep playing the guy. So he could be in the doghouse and not play well to start the game and then not play as much as we expect him to play, or he could play really well and set these guys up to score some points against the Bucks, and he's going to, hopefully cruise over this line. So I really only like his assists here. Again, you got to look at OG Anunoby, who's been really, really good recently in terms of the matchups for a lot of these guys. We don't know if Giannis is going to play or not. That's why it's difficult. So really the only play here, which is very interesting, is going to be Tyler Kolek. Over a 6.5 assists. Moving along to the next game, we only got 2 more games here, and then we're going to wrap things up. Phoenix and Minnesota. Bradley Beal is the only injury report for the Phoenix Suns. We've seen this now for a few games in a row. It's really going to be Ryan Dunn probably stepping up. A little bit of a difficult defense here in the Minnesota Timberwolves, so I'm really only going to trust probably Booker, Durant, maybe Dunn, Richards. You never know if he's going to get in foul trouble or lose minutes to some of these other guys. Royce O'Neal, Grayson Allen, who's going to shoot better off the bench. So harder to predict this Phoenix team, but they are relatively healthy. Again, looking at Booker or Durant is going to be the main thing, and then Ryan Dunn has kind of been the main dude to trust outside of those two. Then for the Minnesota side of things, there's some storylines to go into this one. Anthony Edwards has been cooking recently. He's also going up against Kevin Durant, his favorite player, outspokenly his favorite player in the league, and he plays pretty well against Durant over this season. So we're definitely going to be taking a look at Anthony Edwards, but other guys have played pretty well against this Phoenix team as well. They've played 3 times, in the last season. So this season they played 3 times, is what I mean to say. Julius Randle's been really good in those games as well. And again, we are going to be looking at Anthony Edwards, but you can see the projected minutes. They're not relatively healthy. They're fully healthy. And this is kind of what the rotation's been looking like. Anthony Edwards, the guy that they're going to put on the court for the most time. So 28.5, I'm looking at this at 27.5 because it's available for normal payout here on Bet365. So 27.5 for Anthony Edwards. If you find this 28.5, I think still go for it. Again, it's the storyline. He hasn't had 2 good games. The last 2 games have not been amazing. That was a 41-point blowout. He only played 26 minutes in that game. Maybe an off game against the Pacers. I think he's going to be a bounce-back candidate for today because the head-to-head I really, really like. So he's had 44 points and 33 points the last 2 games against the Suns. You can see the 24-point game back here. That was a game that Kevin Durant didn't play. So if you want to put the storyline into a test here, the game that Kevin Durant didn't play, that was a game that Julius Randle went off. I think he had like 38 points in that one, and Anthony Edwards only scored 24 points. Durant gets into the lineup, he scores 33 on him, and then 44 on him. I'm sure talking trash the whole way through. So I'm really just going into this thinking, hey, Anthony Edwards is a guy that likes to step up in these situations. He's got a pretty good spot to do here. He's playing at home. Everyone's healthy. They're going to be playing off Anthony Edwards. I'm not going to go too crazy with the filters, but you can see similar types of players going over their lines pretty consistently. Luka, Harden came up short, but Edwards, Harden, Trae Young, all these guys that are ball dominant guys that want to put the ball in the hoop, that can shoot above the break, but can also get to the rim, score in the floater game, mid-range, whatever it might be, pick and roll ball handlers, transition, get to the free throw line. All a very weak matchup for a guy going against the Phoenix Suns. So he should be able to take advantage of that, score some points. 27.5 is going to be the line here for me. So that's my favorite read of the video. Or not of the video, maybe one of my favorite reads of the video, but of this game, that's my favorite read for Anthony Edwards to score some points. On the other side of the court, I'm just going to keep it simple. I got to look at Durant, and I got to look at Devin Booker. Now, Devin Booker has the better matchup to score the ball, pick and roll ball handling. They're ranked 23rd in that department. 60% of similar players are going over their lines, including 2 or 3 games that he went over his line. 44-point explosion here. That was a game without KD. 28 and then 17 in the 18-point loss they had. And that was in Minnesota as well. So this one's going to be in Minnesota. But again, we can mess around with these filters. Pick and roll ball handling defense. This is not a top 10 pick and roll ball handling defense. This jumps to a 51.7% hit rate. Without Bradley Beal, this jumps to a 64% hit rate. And maybe the fact that they're away makes it even a little bit better if you go to games that they're away without Beal and not a top 10 defense in terms of pick and roll ball handling. We can see he's over this in 5 of 6 games. So really big games, a lot of these games too. So could be a good spot for Devin Booker, who hasn't had the great last 3 games or so, but can obviously put the ball in the basket. If this one stays close, it's going to be looking at Booker, and of course you got to look at Kevin Durant. Here's his scoring without Bradley Beal. These are all 3 of his last 3 games against the Cavs, against the Bucks, against the Celtics. All difficult defenses. He's been putting the shots up. He's been scoring really well. He's got a difficult matchup to score the points, but we saw it already that he's been able to score against this team in the past. He's got the extra added boost with Anthony Edwards talking trash to him the entire game, probably, and similar types of players also going over their lines. So you got to look at Durant. You got to look at Booker. The guy that I was talking about, Ryan Dunn, I don't like this matchup at all for him. You see how he scores his points. It's not a great matchup. Yes, he's been doing pretty well lately, but a difficult matchup came up against the Celtics. He didn't get there, and this is just not a good matchup for him. So yes, his points at 9.5, but I'm going to stick to Booker and Durant, tried and true guys. I think they're going to get the most shots, and they're going to put the ball in the basket for the Suns. And then finally, jumping into the last game here, we got Utah and Denver. Obviously, injury news to both these teams, but probable tags for a lot of these guys in the Denver Nuggets side of things. Jamal Murray, the only actual true game time decision, it looks like. I hope Jokic goes out there and plays because I think he does have one last push for this MVP type of candidacy. I don't think he's going to get there, but I think he wants to still show the world, yeah, I missed the last 6 games or whatever, but I'm still a dominant player. We saw him triple-double with a monster scoring outing last game. I think he does so in a similar type of situation today. This is a huge spread, so it's hard to get to his triple-double, but that's always in play. You can see plus 160 on a lot of these books, plus 160 looking like the best value, plus 170 or so. So that's pretty good for a Jokic double-double or triple-double against a very weak team. You just got to worry about the blowout potential, but I do like that. I like the sprinkle on Jokic's triple-double. Maybe not even a sprinkle, like a half a unit, maybe a full unit. Go crazy with it. I think he's going to score really well. You can see the last 5 games, including the 39-point explosion against the Bucks. Before his injury, he had 40 points against the Wizards. That was a weak team. They actually lost that game by 3. He's played these guys 3 times so far this year. I'm looking at his points and rebounds, actually, because he's gone over in all 3 of these games, and he's been really good recently, 55% of these games. Even games they win by a decent amount, that's the injuries, even games they win by a decent amount, if I can find that, won by 15 plus points, he's still over this in 62% of them. So points and rebounds is my favorite line for Jokic, 38.5, pretty much everyone's got that there. You find it at 39.5, I don't think he's landed on 39 once all season, so you can still play it there too, and I think Jokic is going to dominate today. You can see his assists as well, head-to-head against this team. Looks like he did triple-double once against them. He had 9 assists as well, so triple-double definitely play for Jokic. I'd look at his points and rebounds at 38.5. That's my favorite play of that side. For the Nuggets, again, a lot of the game time decisions. We don't know exactly who's going to play. For head-to-head for Christian Brown, I'd also look at him just because he's got a pretty good matchup to score the ball, transition, spot up, whatever whatever it might be. He does score a lot of his points in the paint, and they've been okay down there with Walker Kessler defending that, but even so, he's been able to go over in a lot of these games. Recently, he's been okay too with the injuries, piling up. But at the same time, we don't know who's going to play. Maybe a lot of these guys do play. Harder to kind of choose who these role players Jokic is going to set up for most of them. I just know Jokic looks like he's really dominating in terms of scoring, rebounding, and assisting lately. And with that time off, he came back on fire. On the other side of things, the only play I kind of looked at was Walker Kessler to get 2 assists. It's a minus 120 play on a couple books here. It's available a decent amount. He's over this in 41% of games. He's projected to play 28 minutes, but he's gone over this in 2 of the 3 matchups so far against the Nuggets, cruising over this line very easily. And he played 38 minutes in this game, 31 minutes in this game, and 29 minutes in this game. I don't know if Lauri Markkanen's going to play or not, but John Collins is out, so that's good to see. Again, projected for 26 minutes, 28 minutes actually. He could see more. He's got a good matchup against Jokic, both back to the basket type of guys, big burly guys. They don't have to worry about 3-pointers as much. Even Jokic shoots a ridiculous percentage from 3, he should shoot more. But yeah, Walker Kessler has been getting a decent amount of time against this team. If he gets that much time in the court, most assists in the league, this defense gives up, or I guess they're 29th ranked now. Walker Kessler maybe walks into a couple assists, maybe even it's accidental. I don't care if you can get 2 of them, maybe a lean in that situation. I try to get some of these other guys. I just don't know who to go to. I don't know if Lauri Markkanen's going to play, so we have to wait for that news too. All right, so we finally made it through all the games. If you made it this far in the video, definitely go ahead and leave the video a like, comment something down below if you got an extra second or two, and of course subscribe if you are new. Check out Props Madness. That was a tool we were using throughout the entire video. My code and link in the description down below. It's code RICH when signing up. You get a free week trial, and you also get 25% off your first month. Here's a quick recap of the official video picks for today. Jalen Duren under 13.5 points. Kawhi Leonard over 22.5 points. I did go ahead and do Scotty Barnes under the 23.5 points and assists. Anthony Edwards over 28.5 points, and Nikola Jokic over 38.5 points and rebounds. And I'm just realizing we went to a lot of points lines today, so a couple combo lines in there, but really people putting the ball in the basket or not is what we're looking for. We did talk about a whole bunch of leans. We went through every single game, so I was pointing out my favorite guys or my least favorite guys to fade or whatever in that situation or go to. So again, hopefully you got a lot of value from this one, and I know a lot of people do enjoy the deep dives here when we go into each and every game. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, again, I really appreciate the like, comment, subscribe if you are new. We did just reach 16,000 subscribers, so I think next milestone here is 20,000 subscribers. So I don't know how long that will take. We're going to keep grinding out the NBA here, WNBA kind of right around the corner, and we will do some baseball, MLB stuff as well. So excited about all that. Good luck with all your bets today. Some good games out there. Hopefully, with all the injuries, we get some solid games. Crazy day in the NBA yesterday with the giddy buzzer beater, 162 points by the Pacers. Some crazy stuff going on at the end of the year, but playoffs right around the corner, so I know everyone's excited about that. Obviously, we still have a couple games here in the regular season, so we're going to keep grinding it out until then, and then again, we'll probably shift gears to baseball once the playoffs are over, but really WNBA is going to be my main focus with Props Madness and the tools we're going to be able to have to dive into those. But yeah, that's what we got going on for the next few days. Saturday, tomorrow, there's a 7-game slate, so I'll have a video out for that. Hopefully we go 5-0 in today's video picks. We were cruising before the All-Star break. A little bit of a lull after the All-Star break, which I think a lot of people were kind of falling into, but picked right back up. A whole lot of winning days over the last 3 weeks or so, and coming off a losing day, bounce back opportunity for us. We'll try to get that 5-0 sweep. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and good luck with all your bets like always. Peace out.